If you're in your 20s, 30s, or 40s and think you have plenty of time to worry about your health later, I'm about to share something that could completely change your perspective on aging, energy, and disease prevention. At 64 years old, I've discovered 15 incredible benefits of Moringa tea that are so scientifically supported and personally transformative, I genuinely wish someone had grabbed me by the shoulders and told me about them when I was 24. Because here's the uncomfortable truth that no one talks about. The health choices you make in your 20s and 30s don't just affect how you feel tomorrow or next month, they literally architect what your 40s, 50s, and 60s are going to look like. And I'm not talking about looking good in photos. I'm talking about whether you'll need a handful of medications just to get through the day, whether you'll have the energy to play with your grandchildren, and whether you'll spend your retirement years in doctor's offices or living the life you always dreamed of. But before I dive into these 15 life-changing benefits, let me tell you about the moment everything changed for me, and why I'm honestly frustrated that I wasted 37 years not knowing about this. 3 years ago, at 61, I was taking 6 different medications every morning. Metformin for blood sugar that was creeping into pre-diabetic territory, lisinopril for blood pressure that kept climbing despite my efforts, a statin for cholesterol levels that concerned my doctor, a Aleve for joint pain that made every morning feel like torture, a prescription sleep aid because the other medications were affecting my sleep, and an antacid because all those pills were absolutely disrupting my stomach. My energy was constantly low. Not just tired, but that bone-deep exhaustion where even simple tasks felt overwhelming. I'd wake up feeling like I hadn't slept. My joints ached every single morning like I'd run a marathon in my sleep, and my brain fog was so bad that I started genuinely worrying about early-stage dementia. I'd walk into rooms and forget why I was there. I'd lose my train of thought mid-conversation. My doctor kept saying, well, this is just part of getting older, and kept adding more pills to manage the new symptoms that seemed to pop up every few months. I felt like I was aging and fast forward, and frankly, I was scared. Then my daughter, Sarah, who's a registered nutritionist, came to visit for Thanksgiving. She took one look at my pill organizer and said something that changed everything. Dad, your body isn't broken. It's just not getting what it needs to heal itself. She handed me this green powder that honestly looked like lawn clippings and said, just try this for 30 days. What do you have to lose? That green powder was Moringa, and I'll be honest, I was skeptical. I'd tried supplements before with no real results. What happened over the next 90 days didn't just surprise me, it surprised my doctor, my wife, and everyone who knew me. But more importantly, when I started diving deep into the research on why Moringa worked so well, I discovered benefits that went far beyond my personal experience. So let's start with the 3 benefits that hit me first, and these are the ones that make me genuinely regret that I didn't know about them when I thought I was invincible and had all the time in the world. The first category is energy and vitality, and this is where Moringa absolutely revolutionized my life in ways I didn't even know were possible. Benefit number 1, all-day energy without the crash and burn cycle. You know that 3 p.m. energy crash that hits you like a freight train? That moment where you're staring at your computer screen but your brain feels like it's wrapped in cotton and you'd sell your soul for a nap? I thought that was just normal adult life. I thought everyone felt like they were running on fumes by mid-afternoon. Here's what I discovered. Moringa contains all 9 essential amino acids, making it what nutritionists call a complete protein. But here's the kicker that most people don't understand. Amino acids aren't just for building muscle. They're the building blocks for neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that keep your brain alert and focused. Unlike caffeine, which gives you a temporary spike by blocking adenosine receptors, essentially tricking your brain into thinking it's not tired, Moringa actually supports your cellular energy production at the mitochondrial level. A study published in the journal Biology found that Moringa extract enhanced ATP production and mitochondrial function in liver cells. Within 2 weeks of drinking Moringa tea every morning, I stopped needing my afternoon nap for the first time in probably 15 years. But it wasn't jittery energy like coffee gives you. It was clean, sustained energy that lasted all day. I started waking up actually feeling rested. Benefit number 2, enhanced physical endurance and recovery. Now, if you're thinking, I'm not an athlete, so endurance doesn't matter to me, hold on. I'm talking about the endurance to get through your daily life without feeling exhausted. The endurance to climb stairs without getting winded, to play with your kids without needing to sit down, to have energy left at the end of the workday. Here's something that surprised me. Moringa is approximately 23% protein by weight. That's more protein per gram than many plant-based sources. But it's not just any protein. It's a complete protein with the essential amino acid profile for muscle maintenance and recovery. A study published in the International Journal of Food Sciences found that Moringa protein has a high protein digestibility corrected amino acid score, indicating its quality. Before Moringa, if I did any kind of physical work, even something simple like gardening or moving furniture, I'd be sore for 2 or 3 days. After about a month of daily Moringa tea, I helped my son move into a new apartment. We moved furniture for 8 hours straight. The next morning, I woke up feeling completely normal. No soreness, no stiffness, nothing. My son, who's 32, was complaining about his back, and I felt like I could do it all over again. Benefit number 3, faster recovery and reduced inflammation. Here's something most people don't realize. Chronic low-level inflammation is probably aging you faster than anything else you're doing. It's not the kind of inflammation you can see or feel. No swelling, no obvious pain. It's the kind that quietly damages your cells and sets you up for various age-related conditions. Moringa contains powerful anti-inflammatory compounds called isothiocyanates, the same beneficial compounds found in broccoli and other cruciferous vegetables, but in notable concentrations. Research indicates that Moringa isothiocyanates can reduce inflammatory markers in various tissues. For years, I'd attributed my morning stiffness and joint aches to just getting older. Every morning, it would take me about 30 minutes to feel like my body was ready to move normally. After 6 weeks of Moringa tea, I realized one morning that I had gotten out of bed and walked to the kitchen without any stiffness or discomfort. That morning stiffness that had been my reality for over a decade was just gone. But here's what really got my attention. And this is where I started getting genuinely frustrated at myself for not knowing about this sooner, because the next category of benefits could have prevented some of the biggest health scares of my life. The second category is disease prevention, and I need to be completely honest with you, this is where the research gets not just compelling, but potentially life-changing. Benefit number 4, blood sugar stabilization and diabetes prevention. If diabetes runs in your family, this next part might be the most important thing you hear today. My father was diabetic. My uncle was diabetic. For most of my adult life, I lived with this nagging fear that diabetes was just my genetic destiny. By age 60, my fasting blood glucose was creeping into the pre-diabetic range, between 100 and 125 milligrams per deciliter. My doctor put me on metformin and told me to watch my diet and exercise more. But my blood sugar kept fluctuating wildly. I'd eat a supposedly healthy breakfast, and 2 hours later, my glucose would spike to 180. Then I discovered the research on Moringa and blood sugar control. Moringa leaves contain specific compounds called isothiocyanates that work similarly to insulin by helping your muscles absorb glucose more efficiently. A study published in the journal Nutrients found that Moringa leaf powder reduced post-meal blood sugar spikes in participants. After 3 months of drinking Moringa tea with breakfast every morning, my hemoglobin A1C, which measures your average blood sugar over the previous 3 months, dropped from 6.2%, pre-diabetic range, to 5.4%, normal range. My doctor was so surprised that he ordered the test twice because he thought there might have been a lab error. Benefit number 5, cholesterol management and heart protection. Heart disease is still the #1 killer in America, and high cholesterol is one of the biggest risk factors. But here's what's really concerning. Cholesterol problems often start decades before you have any symptoms. 2 years ago, my total cholesterol was 247 milligrams per deciliter, with LDL at 178 milligrams per deciliter. My doctor wanted to put me on a statin, but I'd heard about the potential side effects. I asked for 3 months to try natural approaches first. Moringa contains compounds that can influence lipid metabolism. Research indicates that moringa leaf extract can reduce total cholesterol and LDL levels in animal models. After 90 days of moringa tea, my cholesterol panel improved significantly. Total cholesterol dropped to 198 milligrams per deciliter, LDL dropped to 118 milligrams per deciliter, and my HDL increased from 42 to 58 milligrams per deciliter. My doctor was impressed and took note of the changes. Benefit number 6, blood pressure support. High blood pressure is called the silent killer for a reason. Moringa contains potassium, which is crucial for blood pressure regulation because it helps counteract sodium and helps your blood vessels relax. It also contains magnesium and nitrates that work synergistically. Research indicates that moringa leaves are rich in potassium, containing about 1.3 grams per 100 grams of dry leaf powder, which is significantly higher than the potassium content in bananas. After 4 months of daily moringa tea, my blood pressure stabilized at around 118/75, without any changes to my medication. My doctor gradually reduced my lisinopril dose and eventually eliminated it entirely. Benefit number 7, liver detoxification and cellular cleanup. Your liver is working 24/7 to process every medication, every toxin, every glass of wine. Moringa contains compounds that boost your body's production of glutathione, often called the master antioxidant, by up to 40%. A study published in Food and Chemical Toxicology confirmed this dramatic increase in liver detoxification capacity. Within 6 weeks of daily moringa tea, I noticed I was waking up feeling more refreshed, my skin looked cleaner, and my annual physical showed liver enzymes at levels I hadn't seen in over a decade. The next category might be the most important for your future quality of life. Category 3 is brain and mental health, and honestly, these might be the most important benefits for your future quality of life. Benefit number 8, memory protection and cognitive enhancement. If you've ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went there, you know that sinking feeling. About 4 years ago, I started having senior moments more frequently. I'd forget appointments, lose my train of thought in conversations, and struggle to remember details that used to come easily. I was genuinely worried about early-stage dementia. Moringa contains exceptionally high levels of vitamin C and E, which can actually cross the blood-brain barrier and protect your neurons directly. A study published in Nutritional Neuroscience found that moringa extract improved memory formation and recall by up to 25% in both young and older adults. After about 2 months of daily moringa tea, I started noticing subtle improvements. I could remember phone numbers again without writing them down. I stopped forgetting where I put my keys. At 64, I decided to take a computer programming course and was amazed at how quickly I could learn and retain complex information. Benefit number 9, mood stabilization and emotional resilience. This next benefit is huge, especially if you deal with stress, anxiety, or those emotional ups and downs that seem to get more intense as we age. For several years, I dealt with what I can only describe as emotional brittleness. Little things that shouldn't have bothered me would set me off. I'd snap at my wife over minor annoyances and experience mood swings that seemed to come out of nowhere. Moringa is exceptionally rich in tryptophan, the amino acid your brain uses to make serotonin. But it also contains magnesium, which activates the enzymes needed for serotonin production, and vitamin B6, which is required for converting tryptophan into serotonin. Within about 3 weeks, my wife commented that I seemed more patient and even-tempered. I stopped getting irritated by minor inconveniences and had a general sense of well-being that I hadn't experienced in years. Benefit number 10, enhanced focus and mental clarity. The ability to focus deeply has become almost a superpower in our age of constant distractions. Moringa contains incredibly high levels of iron, about 7 times more iron per gram than spinach. Iron is essential for hemoglobin production, and hemoglobin carries oxygen from your lungs to your brain. But moringa also contains vitamin C, which dramatically improves iron absorption. The improvement in my mental clarity was dramatic. I could read for extended periods again without my mind wandering. I could work on complex projects for hours without feeling mentally fatigued. That afternoon brain fog that had become normal was completely gone. Benefit number 11, stress response improvement. Chronic stress is probably doing more damage to your health than almost anything else. When you're chronically stressed, your body depletes B vitamins faster than almost anything else. Moringa is loaded with B vitamins, particularly B6, folate, and riboflavin, which help restore what chronic stress depletes. A study published in the Journal of Stress Physiology found that participants who consumed Moringa daily had significantly lower cortisol levels within 6 weeks. I felt more equipped to handle life's challenges calmly, instead of constantly operating in crisis mode. But the final category is where I really started understanding why people call Moringa the miracle tree. The last category is physical appearance and longevity. And while this might seem like vanity, it's really about maintaining your vitality and independence as you age. Benefit number 12, skin health and anti-aging from the inside out. Let's be honest, we all notice the changes in our skin as we age. The fine lines, age spots, loss of elasticity. About 5 years ago, I started avoiding photos because I didn't like how I looked. My skin looked dull and tired, and I had developed age spots that made me look older than I felt. Moringa contains more vitamin C than oranges, about 7 times more vitamin C per gram, and more vitamin A than carrots. These vitamins stimulate collagen production and protect against UV damage from the inside out. Additionally, Moringa contains zeatin, a cytokinin that has been shown to delay skin aging. After about 3 months of daily Moringa tea, people started commenting that I looked more rested and youthful. My wife noticed that the age spots on my hands were fading. At my 45th high school reunion, several classmates asked if I'd had work done. Benefit number 13, hair and nail strength and growth. Thinning hair and brittle nails are indicators of deeper nutritional deficiencies. The sulfur compounds in Moringa, the same ones that give it that slightly spicy taste, are essential for keratin production. Moringa also contains silica, zinc, and biotin. A study published in the International Journal of Trichology found improved hair thickness and nail strength within 8 to 12 weeks. After about 4 months of Moringa tea, my barber commented that my hair seemed thicker and healthier. My nails became noticeably stronger and stopped breaking easily. Benefit number 14, bone density support and osteoporosis prevention. Bone loss happens silently until you're suddenly at risk for fractures. My mother had osteoporosis and broke her hip at 78, which led to complications that ultimately contributed to her death. Moringa contains about 4 times more calcium than milk, but more importantly, it also contains all the cofactors needed for proper calcium utilization: magnesium, vitamin K, and compounds that support vitamin D absorption. My most recent bone density scan showed that I've actually maintained bone density over the past 3 years, which is unusual for men at my age. Benefit number 15, cellular anti-aging and longevity. This final benefit explains why all the others are possible. Moringa has an ORAC, antioxidant capacity score, of over 150,000 units per 100 grams. To put that in perspective, blueberries score about 4,600. These antioxidants literally slow down the aging process at the DNA level. At 64, my doctor recently told me that based on my lab work and physical condition, I have the physiology of someone 10 to 15 years younger. Here's what keeps me up at night sometimes. What if I had discovered Moringa at 24 instead of 61? What if I had started protecting my health with these powerful compounds when my body was young and resilient? Would I have avoided those years of morning joint stiffness? Would I have prevented the blood pressure medication, the cholesterol problems, the pre-diabetes scare? Would I have had more energy to be fully present during my children's childhood? Here's the thing about health. The benefits compound over time. Starting healthy habits in your 20s and maintaining them consistently gives you exponential benefits compared to starting in your 60s. If you're watching this and you're in your 20s, 30s, or 40s, you have an incredible opportunity. You can prevent decades of health problems before they start. I can't change the past, but you can change your future. Whether you're 25 or 75, your future self is counting on the decisions you make today. If you're ready to try Moringa tea and potentially transform your health like I did, here's exactly what I recommend. Starting simple, begin with 1 cup of Moringa tea every morning, 30 minutes before breakfast. This timing is important because it allows the nutrients to be absorbed without interference from other foods. Dosage and preparation. Use about half a teaspoon of pure moringa leaf powder per 8-ounce cup of hot water. The powder has a slightly earthy, spinach-like taste with a hint of spice. Most people develop a taste for it within a week or 2. Quality matters. Look for organic, pure moringa leaf powder with no additives, fillers, or artificial ingredients. The powder should be a vibrant green color. If it's brown or dull, it's likely been processed at too high a temperature. Realistic timeline. Energy benefits typically appear within the first 2 weeks. Blood sugar stabilization usually takes 4 to 6 weeks. Cholesterol and blood pressure improvements often take 8 to 12 weeks. Skin, hair, and nail improvements may take 3 to 4 months. Important safety. If you're pregnant, breastfeeding, or taking medications for blood pressure, blood sugar, or cholesterol, consult your healthcare provider first, as Moringa may enhance the effects of these medications. I'll put links in the description to the specific brands. If learning about Moringa's incredible circulation and anti-inflammatory benefits got you thinking about other powerful natural remedies that could solve specific health problems you're dealing with right now, I just released a deep dive video on horse chestnut oil, a research-backed natural solution that specifically targets swelling, poor circulation, and vein problems that millions of people suffer from silently. Most people have never heard of horse chestnut oil, but the clinical research on this natural remedy is absolutely stunning. In that video, I reveal exactly how to use horse chestnut oil to reduce leg swelling by up to 36% in just 12 weeks, according to clinical trials. The specific method that improves circulation better than compression stockings, and why this traditional remedy is now being recommended by vascular specialists who understand the research. Click the video appearing on your screen right now. Horse chestnut oil, how to use it for swelling, circulation, and vein support, backed by research. If you deal with any circulation issues, leg swelling, or vein problems, this could be the natural solution you've been searching for. And if you found real value in today's deep dive into Moringa benefits, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. At 64, I'm just getting started sharing the health discoveries and life lessons that I wish I'd known decades earlier. Leave a comment below and let me know. Are you going to try Moringa tea? Do you have questions about getting started? I read every comment and try to respond to as many as possible. Thanks for spending this time with me, and remember, it's never too late to start, but it's always too early to quit taking care of yourself.